Coming off of a devastating playoff series last season to the Denver Nuggets, led by Jamal Murray and Nikola Jokic, the Jazz look to be in jeopardy of blowing the team up and starting fresh the following season. However, Utah Jazz came out guns blazing this season, setting the NBA on fire with the league best record. What makes this even more impressive is that the Jazz are doing this in a stacked Western Conference with teams like the Lakers, Clippers, Nuggets, Blazers, Suns. Lots of good teams in the Western Conference. But we all know that a regular season record amounts for so little come playoff time. So, will the success transfer over to the postseason, or will they burn out? Are the Utah Jazz title contenders or pretenders? Let's get to it. The Jazz started this season by signing Rudy Gobert, their longtime center, to a 5-year, $205 million. That's a lot of money. And as Shaq likes to say, hey, young kids, if you are 7 feet tall and you average 12 points a game, you will get $200 million. And we all know that's a bunch of BS because Rudy Gobert affects the game defensively like no other. He is a defensive specialist, which is why the Jazz wanted to sign him to a long-term deal. Make no mistake, Rudy is a 2-time Defensive Player of the Year, and even though he doesn't affect the game that much offensively, his defensive prowess is like no other, so the Jazz had to sign him to a long-term deal. Another factor in the Jazz's recent success has been the rise of Jordan Clarkson, the probable 6th Man of the Year this season. 6'4" shooting guard has provided a huge scoring boost off the bench for the Jazz this year and is averaging a career-high 18 points per game. He has often been the deciding factor in games where other players have struggled, while he has led them with his scoring ability. Jazz fans saw the flashes of his production last season, but not consistent enough. But this year, he is putting it all together and it's looking really good, which is a huge reason why the Jazz have been so surprising. And anytime you get a consistent version of Jordan Clarkson, good things will happen. The biggest revelation has been Mike Conley. He has been the best player for this number 1 seeded Utah Jazz in the Western Conference. Mike Conley is a hell of a player. He's been a hell of a player his entire career. Extremely underrated, extremely underappreciated. And now going to another small market team like the Utah Jazz from the Memphis Grizzlies, he has finally found his role on this team and he's doing a great job. He will be instant offense and playmaking come playoff time. And if he struggles, this team could struggle as well. We can't forget about Spider Mitchell. That's right, this man is the face of the Utah Jazz. He has been since he got into the league. The first time I watched him play in Summer League, I was like, damn, he is the man. And when I got to interview him in Sacramento, when he worked out for the Kings, I was so sure he should have been the number 10 pick for the Kings, but that's neither here nor there. He slipped. The Jazz traded up to get him, and the rest is history. He's been a hell of a player since day one, and he's continued to improve every single year. It may not look like it from a statistical standpoint, but his game has grown so much. And last year in the playoffs, when he and Jamal Murray had that showdown, it was a hell of a series. And you best believe that this year, you will want to watch him play because I expect even bigger things come playoff time. With all of this said, even though Bojan Bogdanovic missed the playoffs last year and he's going to be a huge contributor to this year's playoff team, there are still questions about the Jazz beating a team like the LA Lakers or LA Clippers on the fact that this team has one superstar offensively that can lead them on any given night, while those two teams, AD and LeBron, Kawhi Leonard and Paul George, they can do it on both ends of the floor, which could hinder the Jazz from making the finals. Now, barring injuries, this team is a little bit deeper than the other teams, but we all know that stars win championships. And at the end of the day, the Jazz could benefit next year if they had a guy like DeMar DeRozan or Victor Oladipo just to add to that offensive punch. but they are a well-coached team, and I'm split on this, right? Because the question of this video is whether or not the Utah Jazz are title contenders or pretenders. And with all of these variables, knowing that if the Jazz have a healthy nucleus, they are one of the deepest, if not the deepest team in the NBA, but they still need help on the defensive perimeter. I still think they're a move away from being that team. And even if they stay put, they're still going to give the Lakers or the Clippers a run for their money. But today, if I just had to choose whether or not they were contenders or pretenders, I wouldn't have to say it. I think they're pretenders. Let me know if you agree with this or disagree. Are they a piece away, or are you all in on this Utah Jazz? Make sure you hit that like button or just like. Either way, it helps us out a lot. But the most important one is share with all your NBA family, with the Utah Jazz community. Do you agree or disagree? And again, thank you guys so much, and we'll see you guys on the next one.